Welcome, everybody. This is our first English podcast with PolaPalsRunClub. We have Tom, and we have Kelly here, and we're super excited. We hope we enjoy this, and we are going to talk a lot about a lot of things today. It's going to be a bit of a longer version, and I hope we stay with us, and then it's going to get really exciting. And we're going to get started with the Polar Pals. Tom, I'm going to get started with you. How do you think about Polar Pals?
Okay, so we can go as far back as 2015.
Yeah.
So if you guys follow me on Instagram, like I have a personal account.
Mm-hmm.
So if you look at if you scroll through down on Instagram, you'll see like a bunch of just me dressed in costumes.
I saw some of those
videos. And I was doing Gangnam style dances back then, but by myself. And nobody in my my inner circle would actually do it with me.
Yeah.
So I would have like an Abida like who'd just be the camera person.
Yeah.
And then he would just be there. And then I'll usually get, hey, are you free tonight?
Right.
I want to do a dance video.
Right.
So some of the videos I'm at Western, I'm doing it there. Sometimes I'm at City Hall, just dancing outside City Hall. But one of my regrets is TikTok came out in 2016.
Okay.
Right?
Yeah.
If I had kept going, I could have been like one of the early like TikTok stars, right?
Right.
So you can say like, if you look at the Polar Pals Instagram page now, a lot of it is a bunch of us dressed in bananas, right? And we're just doing something simple.
That's true.
So we're just having, we have something called banana dance where we have, your hands are up, right? You're basically just shaking your hips left and right. And the thing is, it's such a simple move that anybody on the street, you pick them out, they'll do it. Because, when I say dance, people, they start to freak out. They don't know what to do, right? Because they think it's something very complicated.
Very weird.
Very weird, yeah, exactly. Yeah. So when I show them the dance with their hands up and just doing this, right? People are willing to do that. So you'll see on Instagram, our page, we are known for three things.
Mm-hmm.
So the first thing is we like to run in costumes. So if you look at my Instagram page from
costume everywhere, yeah.
I was known to dress up in costumes a lot.
Even my Instagram is turning into a costume.
So I was really into dressing up and stuff back then.
Right.
And then I was dancing as well, right? So I took some of that element and I moved it over to the Polar Pals Run Club, right?
Yeah.
So, and then this past year we did so one of the reasons why we're called the Polar Pals, originally we were actually a cold plunging group. So if you guys don't know what that is, it's basically where you will go into anything like a cold lake in the wintertime, or you can go in like an ice tub with ice, right?
Right.
And there's a lot of like benefits to the cold exposure. So you can actually look this up on the internet. Going into the cold exposure, it can increase your dopamine levels. It makes you feel good. It gives you a lot of energy. One thing is I don't drink caffeine. So every morning, I don't. You look at me.
It's crazy.
I don't drink caffeine.
Without caffeine.
I don't go out of my way to drink coffee. I don't go out of my way to drink tea unless somebody offers me like a tea or a coffee.
Right.
But I don't go out of my way. Like I would every morning, I'll do like a warm shower at first, and I'll do a cold shower. That's what I do, and that wakes me up.
I can vouch for this because I had no idea about cold dips before this year. This guy has been dragging me out, and then we did it, and the kind of calmness, the kind of awareness that I have after, that's unparalleled. I didn't find them through any other like caffeine or any other drinks. So that is a big takeaway for me for this year, and I think it's kind of kicked me off to a direction. Okay, let's try this other thing. Let's try this other thing, because this cold dip created all this excitement for me, and then we were having so much fun doing all of this. Kelly, I think you did the cold dips as well.
That's where we met.
Yeah, exactly.
With the child can dip.
Yeah, but I wanted to ask you, how did you know this crazy bunch of people?
So
we're all crazy bunch of people, eh? Yeah.
So for me, I started off. Three of my close friends passed away last year, and
I'm sorry to hear that.
And I realized that it was I don't know if you remember the quote from the Shawshank Redemption movie, but he says, "Get busy living or get busy dying."
Right.
And it was like a wake up for me losing my friends that I was like, I have to get busy living. So I was like, I got to start doing things that are outside of my comfort zone and things that I would never ever do because I could go tomorrow. Who knows, right? So I saw on like Facebook about this polar bear dip. Well, I hate cold water. I do not do cold showers. I hate cold water. Like if the shower turns cold, I'm like screaming. And
exactly.
So I was like, oh, I'm going to sign up for a polar bear dip. It's like, I was terrified. I was beyond terrified. I went by myself. I actually didn't think I'd get there that morning because we had a big snowstorm the night before and my parking lot was snowed in. So I was out shoveling at like 6 o'clock in the morning out of my parking lot in the building. And I get there and I'm sitting at a table by myself, just shaking and like going, I'm going, oh my God, like what was I thinking? Like why am I doing this? Like I was ready to cry.
Oh wow!
And I can actually say that because we actually at that time we had like a small group of 4 of us, right?
Yeah.
So it was me, a guy named Neil, Mitch, and then I was dating somebody at that time. But yeah, it was just 4 of us, and then I saw you
sat down next to me.
Yeah, because we had to sit down to change and put our bags there, and then I noticed you were just like this, you know?
Oh wow!
You were like
I was terrified.
She was.
That's the only word I can explain. I was just.
That is this year.
Regret. That's March 3rd?
Oh, March 8th or something. Yeah. Okay. March 8th.
Yeah.
March 8th.
And and then these guys sat down and they seemed really cool. Like they were all seemed friendly. And then I don't know who started talking to who first.
That is one thing I don't remember.
We just kind of all started talking. And then I was like, hey, I'm by myself. I'm like, can I hang out with you guys and do this? Because they sounded like they were pretty pumped up. And like, I was like, I need this right now. I need people that are going to get me.
That energy that can really help, right? Yeah.
And then we got there, and then we just all did the dip. And well, before that though, I even said I was like, "Hey, you guys are like my new best friends."
We actually have a clip of that. We actually have a clip of that on Facebook. Her dad was there recording the whole thing. And she had that line. She actually said it in the video.
I said, I was like, "You guys are my new best friends." And then who thought like. Here we are.
6, 7 months later, look where we are, right? You're like a part of our family now. That's what it is.
It is. It doesn't feel like I know you guys for the last 6 to 8 months.
Seems like we've been friends forever.
It does. It does.
What I think, this is the one thing I found was common between all of us, that we're all chatty.
That's true.
And being chatty comes with the advantages. I'm not going to talk about the challenges, but advantages is like having this group bonding, which feels like a family now.
And a positive group.
Exactly.
Like the positivity. There's not a single person in the group that's like a downer or like judgy or like it just, we're all like super supportive and everyone's just like a family, but better than a family.
That is so true. I mean, we are now how many people? Like around 50.
Well, on Strava, which is like a run group where we track each other, it's like 41 people in there. But then, you know, it's really different metrics. You go on Instagram, there's a lot of people that just follow us to watch what we're doing. They actually haven't done any like runs with us or anything like that, but they're interested. A lot of them actually, after talking to them, they're actually interested in doing the polar bear dips.
That is the key part where I feel what separates us is there's a lot of run groups. And there's a lot of kind of interaction that they have, but the kind of interaction that we have when we started, it's unique, it's unparalleled. That's something that I always kept talking to you about, where the way that I engage with everybody, the way that everybody engages with everybody, like I don't see and I don't find a hint of negativity or downer from anyone where we get to like, okay, you're not going to be doing this. Everybody's excited about doing everything. Which is such a great thing. It's like we're creating the community vibe, and that's something that I really wanted to touch base with you, like where we are creating a holistic kind of a family feeling community where we do care for each other, and that's something that I didn't find it before. It's very different for me. I don't know. Maybe I am from Toronto. I was living in Toronto, and Toronto vibe is totally different. I don't want to talk bad about Toronto, but that's a different experience. But coming here in London, of course, London is kind of something that I have from my heart. And when I came back and I found you guys out of random, like I don't know you like 10 years back or 5 years back on Facebook.
Like literally, man, like I've known you since maybe late last year, right?
Yeah, exactly.
And Kelly, I've only known you since like 6-7 months ago.
Exactly.
Yeah, 6-7 months.
And that's why I wanted to connect with you. I'm just taking my notes and checking in some of the notes that we were talking about, because I want to really capture this moment. And what were we thinking about this, going back to the past for like 6-8 months, and then really connect with people who were excited, and then who can reach out and then connect and do the same thing in their own community. That's the power that I feel, that they can have it in their own community, have this positive feedback. So let me ask a few questions so we can dig deeper into it. Maybe, Kelly, we do a lot of things that Tom was talking about. You seem to get really connected through the dips, cold dips. What are the things that you find more feedback, like Tom was talking about how it was fulfilling for him? What was this for you? How was your feelings there? Was there any other reasons that you were more interested in doing the polar dips?
I wasn't interested.
Exactly. We are so crazy bunch of people.
I didn't want to, but the thing is it was the adrenaline that day too, though.
Yeah.
Like that was like just like you get like the high from running when we all when we all finished the half marathon.
Oh,
we did our first half marathon together. And when we all came out of that, like I was on a high for days, and I kind of felt that way with the polar bear thing. Like as much as it was cold and everything, but as soon as we finished, you're like, oh, we're gonna come back next week, and I was like, okay.
Other thing is, you ran so much. I'm super proud that you did like a half marathon within a very short amount of time, and that's a less preparation. And I see that's more of a power of heart, where you have like with your strong heart that you kind of push through. And I was running behind you. You were faster than me. I was in that one.
We were close.
No way. I
Range.
was like walking at the end. But it's just truly amazing to see. This guy blew past us way before. And thanks to him to set a kind of a pace. We are really grateful for that. But when you were going through and then you felt bad after, right? I had cramps for 7 days. How was this? You were talking about like you were high after the run. What was this high? You
just the adrenaline and like the fact just to be like I completed something that I never thought like. I mean, I just started running 3 months before that. Again, I used to run when I was a kid, but I hadn't run in over 30 years. So it was like, and I only decided to start running when we were doing the polar bear dips. And the one day he sent a message. I said something about a dip, and he said, "Oh, we're running, and I'm running with some friends on Sunday morning."
That's actually how you met him.
At Victoria Park, and I was like, "Oh, I haven't run in 30 years. I'd like to get back at it." And you were like, "Well, you can come if you want, but it's just going to be guys." And I'm like, "I don't care if it's guys. I'm just going to be running. Like, who cares?" So, and then that's when we met.
I'll be honest. Like that day, you were probably the outside of me. You were the fittest one there. Because we were going at a comfortable like maybe 6:30 minute per kilometer pace. You were trying to hang in there. You were trying to hang in there. But he was really. It was hard for him to talk. Kelly was able to talk. Dan was able to talk. But Kelly, you actually ran the farthest out of everyone outside of me. Like, you ran like I think maybe 7 or 8K the first time. Right?
And you had me doing 12, like.
And then
12. I'm like, Tom texted me.
And you're like, well, if you could do 12, then you could do a half marathon in 3 months. And I was like,
this guy.
This guy easily can convince anybody to do anything.
You know what he did? He tricked me. He kept talking to me about how you were doing. So I'm like, I'm not doing anything. I'm not running at all. And he's like, texted me, Kelly did half marathon, Kelly did 10K, Kelly did 5K.
So you can
and
too.
I'm like, okay, Kelly's doing a lot of things. I gotta catch up. I'm like, okay, that's a great competition for us.
First of all,
well, we all did it.
First of all, my intention was not to do that to make you feel bad or anything like that. My intention was that I was proud of Kelly that she did that. And I was just basically boasting about it. But I guess now that I know that you're competitive and stuff like that, that actually motivates you to actually push yourself a little bit more. So,
well, the other part that worked for me is to you reaching out. Everybody's keep reaching out to me individual level, where everybody's like feel like, okay, so if it's more like my friends are left out there and they're inviting us to hang out, and rather than just sitting ducks watching TV or like doing something not worthwhile, I would say. We are doing something that's better for everybody. So it's always win-win. When I'm seeing you guys, meeting my friends, I'm taking care of myself. And that is the key takeaway that I realized when we have aligned our values with, and we have that feeling about mutual happiness for each other. That just creates double fun for everybody. And I see Tom, like you have more plans. Let's talk about how we are going to expand, because PolaPalsRunClub it's like we are wearing our second generation t-shirt and we need to show it off, and we are super proud, and this is London born identity, and I'm super proud of it because I feel more aligned with London, and it is such a kind of a home that I feel where I get to share this experience, not in Canada, even outside of Canada, where people can feel, where I'm an immigrant, I have to say, and meeting people, finding somebody, it's also difficult. Everybody goes through the challenges. I know we have one of the team members who's very strong, Gobaya, right? And we were talking about him earlier. And the way that he ran, and he had a community, so he knew how it was. I had no idea. And it became a bit of a strong community, which kind of drove me to be better. Okay, so now that I know, I'm going to be able to do more. And then what I wanted to do is, this is the things that I learned from you guys, where the sense of community that we cultivated here in London, how can we share this to the people across, not even in Canada? Maybe some people in Toronto might need to have this, but nonetheless, what we are hoping to do is to bring it international or somewhere outside of Canada, where anybody can start their community, go crazy with their costumes, and have fun. And that's where I feel, what's your thinking about moving in forward, coming in?
Right. So deep down, everybody wants to have fun. Right? Like, who wants to be miserable? Like, nobody wants to be miserable, okay? So the whole point with the run club is, first of all, I want to make it clear, we're not like a competitive run club whatsoever, right? True. So I know Kelly, like, for her, when she did her first half marathon, she actually told me she didn't want it to end, right? Because you were enjoying it.
I was on a high.
I was like, how? I kind of
wanted to keep going when I got there.
This girl is talking about, okay, she wants to run again. I'm like, how is it possible?
Right. But for most people that don't know what a half marathon is, let me break down the distance for you, right? Because I know a lot of people here aren't runners and they're new to this world, right? So a half marathon, or let's start with a full marathon. So a full marathon is like what you see with the Boston Marathon, the Berlin Marathon, which I'll be doing next weekend.
That is amazing.
Thank you. So the Boston, when you hear the word marathon, it's actually a distance of 42 kilometers or 26.2 miles. So that's a huge distance, right? So, I mean, 42 kilometers is really far to drive, right? And even to bike, right? So that's a huge distance. So Kelly actually, she did 20, not just Kelly, but also this guy says, I can't forget this guy. I can't forget the host.
I don't quite run, so this guy is like really
he rocks
it. I'm just happy to run with you guys. That's the best thing I got.
I can't forget the youngest child here.
I see that.
But yeah, so half marathon is half of a full marathon. So 42 divided by 2 is 21 kilometers. So Kelly did that. And I'll be honest, like, you're the only person that I've heard where you did not want the race to end, because a lot of people, like, they're hurting at 18, 19.
It was magic.
That's me. That was me as well.
But I don't go into it. Some people go into it, and there's nothing wrong with being competitive if that's what you're interested in. But for me, competitive was not. I had competitive running days when I was a kid, and for me now, I just want to run for me. I want to run for the enjoyment, the present moment, just being in the moment and just taking it all in. And so that's. I don't put expectations on myself for paces or anything like that. I have another one next Sunday, but I'm going into it as just my Sunday long run. Like, it's not, I'm not going to be looking at my watch. Well, I will just make sure I'm not going too fast, because it can make you get a little too excited, and then you're like, whoa, slow down.
But I mean, a lot of people I know that are watching this, that are new to this kind of world, where you're probably asking, Kelly, why the heck did you run 21 kilometers? Like, what makes that so exciting, right? So. But, like, you know, everyone has their own thing that they like. So for us, we get that joy from doing polar bear dips, going in the cold water. it's one of those things you just have to do in order to feel it, right? I can explain to you that it makes us feel good, but you have to experience it yourself in order to feel it, right?
Right.
And so there's just something like maybe some people like to cook as their pastime, right? Or to play the guitar, or sing. That's something I like to do as well, right? So everyone has their own way of passing the time where it's enjoyable for them. So with us, going back to that, we're not a competitive run club. That's the culture I want to basically make, right? I want to cultivate that culture where we're not competitive. We don't take ourselves too seriously. Of course, there's some runners in our group that do want to go for that personal best. They want to go fast. That's fine.
That's fine. Yeah.
Sometimes I want to do that too, right? Sure. And but also, like I said, most people want to have fun. Deep down inside, everyone wants to have fun, right? And one of the great things why I did the costumes is that early on, what I found is when I had that costume on me, I felt invincible in some ways.
I honestly did.
That's a good segue. Yeah. Let's talk about costume.
Yes.
I mean, the way that it impacted me, and I see Dan, we can talk about him, where he's always by himself wearing costume, which is something of a superpower. I see. You are doing this too, which is amazing. And why do you think costume brings in? Why the costume?
Good question. So everyone, honestly, like as a kid, I can't speak for everyone, but I'm sure maybe to a certain level. Like when I was a kid, I wanted to be, I watched like Superman, I watched Spider-Man. I wanted to be like that guy, right? So when I put on the Superman costume, or I have a Spider-Man costume that I used to fit into, but now that I'm bigger, now it's like I can't fit anything. But when you had that costume, you feel like that character. You have that vision in your head. It's like, like Spider-Man, like, he has that power of doing things, and Superman. So when you have that characteristic within you. So the thing is with a costume is that I believe everyone has that. I'll speak with Tony, for instance. Like Tony in our group, he's a pretty reserved guy. Yeah. Okay, he's really reserved. But when I see him putting on the Luigi costume and the Spider-Man costume.
Oh, Spider-Man costume.
I mean,
so fun.
You can look at some of one of the most recent videos when he dressed up as Spider-Man for one of the diabetes fun run that we did. Guy's completely changed. He's like dancing around. Like I've never seen him like that without the costume, right? And everyone, and you actually brought this up in your Instagram story. I remember watching this as well, where everyone has that in them. It's just that the costume brings it out.
Exactly.
Right? It brings it out.
Yeah.
So, and you probably feel the same thing.
I wore mine to the Harvest Fest
the banana suit.
What I enjoyed, what was fun for me wearing the costume, well, I don't like running in the heat with the costume, but what was fun for me was just seeing people smile as I'm like running down the street and they're like sitting on their porch having a coffee and they're like, doing a double take, or they're walking their dog and you just see them smile, and it's like if it can make someone laugh or like cheer up someone's day, then it's worth being silly.
It's worth it. And you know what? The kid, whenever I'm doing these events dressed as Mario or a banana suit, like what Kelly did this past weekend, people get a smile from it. It brings a smile to them. They feel good. I feel good. I made someone's day and stuff like that. And there's just all around good energy, good vibes all around. Yeah. Right? So that's what it is.
I think that's how we encourage each other. That was the thing that I took a note about, how we encourage each other. It's also about spreading that encouragement across the society, who's not a part of our team. Right. When we are going through a space, we are coming with a positive energy. When we come in, people light up, and that makes them comfortable. Exactly. And I think that's a big takeaway from this one part as well, where we are going through all of this. But let's move on a different topic from this one, where I'm curious to know, because you are a heavy lifting runner. So you've been running how many kilometers now?
So this guy was stalking me on Strava. For people that don't know Strava, so Strava is an app where you can actually download your phone, or actually if you have a fitness watch, like a Garmin watch or a Fitbit. Right. So basically it tracks how far you run. It tells you how fast you are running, your pace and all that stuff. So it's really good because one thing is it actually motivates other people. Exactly. If you're following, let's say if I'm following Kelly, I see Kelly did like a 18-kilometer run this morning. I was like, oh, I got to do something as well, right? It kind of motivates me. It kind of pushes me to do it. Same thing with Neon. Yeah. Like this guy's running late at night.
That's the thing about it. When I see my friends running in Strava, I'm like, okay, I haven't done anything on this one. I need to contribute. The only way that I can contribute is by action.
That's right.
Not sitting on Facebook typing things
or doom scrolling on Instagram. Exactly.
Right. So kids, start something of a social media where you can do some actions there.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So going back to Strava, so it's an app that tracks your running. You can actually look at other people, see you can actually track their progress. So this year, this guy was stalking me, so he saw it. I didn't realize it, and he brought it up to me that I ran almost 2,000 kilometers this year.
2,000 kilometers. This guy.
Yeah.
So,
and we still got 3 months left.
Okay, compared to someone lazy like me, I'm gonna be open about this with everybody.
Yeah,
I ran. This is my PR, by the way. This year's my PR. I ran close to 200 kilometers, like 189, which is nothing.
That's not lazy though. That's not lazy though.
So
some people will never do that in their entire lives.
That's a personal best for you, man. So be proud of it.
I am extremely happy that I get to be a part of this group where we get to do this. And that's how I am extremely happy where I get to get on Strava. You know, I've been in Strava from 2014. I never logged a run. So this year I logged my runs, and I'm happy that I'm being a part of this group, encouraging me to get into that. But that's where I feel like, how do we support each other? And that's how we found each other to support. That's right. Where we create that Strava community going too. And I wanted to move on to the other topic where we were talking, because it's because you're a heavy lifting runner, Kelly. You're amazing, and I also wanted to learn from your experiences, because you had a. If it's okay with you, is to share, is you had a tough time going through the injury, and then we were going through all these processes where Tom kept supporting us, and that's the beauty of our team, where we support each other to give our tips, where what can we do to prevent injuries and be a safe runner. Right. Whatever we are doing, it needs to be safer, even if it's cold dips. Right. Even if we are going out there in the public, we need to make it safe for everybody, for the team. So let's I just want to open the floor about how you faced it and how was your process. And Tom, if you want to share your experiences as well.
So the knee injury was after 4 city road races, and it was not good for me. My mental health was very, very bad, because I was watching all my friends having fun and running, and I can see everyone on the messenger that they're all going to do this and that and everything else. And then I'm sitting at home feeling sorry for myself, I'll admit, which is a horrible way to be. And but the good, these guys got me through it, because you guys were still there, and people seeing how I'm doing and everything else. But it was like bad experience, because I was like, I felt left out. I felt like I'd lost my family. I'd lost my whole purpose. Like, all I would, that was like, this is what, I don't know. It's hard to describe, but everyone did get me through it. And I'm like, when I finally was able to get out and run, all of a sudden I was like, new person. I was like, yeah, I get to be with everybody again and running with everyone and having fun. But this is a good group for everybody, being super supportive and everything.
So she was actually out. So 4 City Road Race is on June 11th, right? And you were out for at least 3 months, right?
Yeah, and that's why I was really worried, and then we were really praying for that, where you can come back running the same kind of passion that you ran with us. And when I finished that road race, I could not even stand up. I was flat on the ground. Right. And I was super worried. Okay, how am I going to do this? And thankfully, one of our friend Neil, I have to mention him, he helped me with the instant recovery. And you were also giving me tips on how to do the proper warm-ups. There's stories there as well, where you can find him talking about sharing tips, how to recover, or how to do proper warm-ups. Those are the things.
I also want to interject here, is that I think a lot of people, I know a lot, you told me the community that we're talking to, right? These are not the people that run. So I know there's a lot of myths out there where people think running is bad for your knees. Right, so
for me, it was arthritis is bad for me.
It wasn't the running.
It was an arthritis flare-up. So it didn't have anything to do with running. Unfortunately, with arthritis, it can flare up at any time. I can wake up one morning and I can't move my neck. It can be horrible for a month, and then all of a sudden I wake up in the morning and I'm fine. And then maybe it moves to my lower back, or maybe it moves to my knee, maybe it moves to my wrist and hands. And it's just one of those things. When I saw the doctor at the Fowler Clinic, that she's after x-rays and everything else, she's like, from the arthritis.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, with that, it's not something that I can do preventative stuff with. I mean, I can get my legs stronger, but if it flares up, it's just one of those things that I have to
sit it out,
just deal with
Monitor
it. Wait,
yourself.
yeah.
I have a quick question, if that's okay. On the physical part of it, we were really missing you. But on the physical part of it, did you do any kind of physical kind of physiotherapy or any kind of recovery that you can share that are people to learn from your experiences?
I didn't know.
Okay.
I sat there and felt sorry for myself. I was able to, it was the running. I could do everything else. I could walk. I was walking.
Oh,
I was trying to do other things, but it was the minute
No, she's forgetting something. So I did show her some exercises to do with the resistance band. She's been doing them.
I've been doing them.
Yeah, so it has been strengthening her legs that way. So I think that definitely, I think it did help you, right? But the thing is, with the Canadian healthcare system here, they're really slow. I'll be honest. They're very slow with getting things done. So she had an X-ray done. How long did it take for you to get that?
Then the doctor, when the results came back, she was on holidays for 3 weeks.
So there's 3 weeks there.
Then I had to wait. So then at that point, I gave up waiting for her because I didn't want to wait, and I knew I had to start running again. So I just started running again,
and then you know what? Last weekend
so
she did 18 kilometers with me, and that was probably
it was fine. Yeah.
That is amazing. That's why I'm super proud of this moment where we had some experiences. It was a bit of a negative experience, but we recovered. And I feel like
you guys all got.
I shared the journey with you.
Yeah.
When we were talking about you, we also were. I feel like I was sharing the journey. It wasn't you alone.
Yeah.
And that's something that that's the moment I realized. Okay, we have something here with PolaPals. And we need to share this with everybody.
That's why, going back to Strava, like when I saw Kelly running on her own again, I was super excited. Like I felt like when
you guys all cheered me on in comments and everything.
I'm like sharing on the Facebook. We have a Facebook Messenger group where we're all in that group, right? And I was like, I saw a screenshot of her Strava. I was like, look at who's back. And it's like, because a part of me was excited to see you back, right?
So that's where we come with the term family.
Yeah, exactly.
Where we get to care for this, and then we get to share our winnings, our personal victories with the family, where everybody cheers us up.
Exactly.
And that's with that note, I think we have covered a lot of ground. I love talking with you two, but I just wanted to keep it open for any of you to say whatever you want to talk to our audience here, who are mostly from they're mostly immigrants.
Right.
They have their busy lives, mostly our age, where they have kids, they have their jobs tied down, but they don't get a chance to live in the moment where we get to do the costume thing.
That's right.
What would you feel like you want to share with them? Like, what are the things that they can get them to get off the couch or get off the book of 1 hour from a week to do this? What do you think that got you to get started?
Yeah.
The thing is, I feel more tired when I'm sitting at home on the couch. Like feel like sometimes it'll be like, oh, I don't want to get up and do stuff because then I'm too tired to do it. But you actually get more energy when, if that makes sense. Like, so I'll be tired, but then if I go out running, then I have more energy, right?
Exactly.
People in motion stay in motion, whereas once you're sitting, then you're just kind of not going to go anywhere.
That's wonderful.
Even if you're tired, just get up. Even if it's just a walk, like
that's what I'm learning.
You'll actually feel better afterwards. You'll feel more energy.
Yeah, 100%. And just to add on to that with the walking. So with our run club, we have people at different paces. So so I'll be like one of the faster paces. Kelly is probably in the middle pace, and then we got this guy doing.
No, I'm just kidding.
On this corner, I'm trying to catch up with everybody.
No, but anyway, you can. So we actually have we actually have a very diverse group here. So we have people as young as 6 years old, so kids in our group, to someone as old as 76. Right, and you don't necessarily have to run. Like when you're first starting out, just like everything else, you want to take it slow, right? So my advice to new people, especially runners, because one of the biggest things I see with runners that are they're just doing too much too fast. So a lot of people, even myself included, when I first started running, I was always pushing myself too hard. But when you actually look at running, doing it the proper way of how to slowly building up your aerobic fitness is to do it very easy pace, light, like you're able to have a conversation.
Yeah.
So one thing with Neon, when I go running with you, I gauge you. If you can talk to me, then you're in the right zone.
Right.
If I find that you are not able to talk,
right,
then we need to slow it down.
Right.
So a lot of people, when they first start off, they are like, "Oh, this is horrible. I feel like crap, right? Like, this is a terrible. Why would anyone want to run?" But most of the runs that I do, even when I'm training for a marathon, is like 80% of the training I do is very easy pace, and I love it. I call it social running. To me.
You didn't say this when you dragged me out in the heat when it was like 37 degrees and I thought I was going to die.
I know the.
I couldn't talk. I was pouring water on myself, and he made me keep going. This is a lie.
I agree with this.
With you, with you, I have higher standards for you. So it's like,
look at this. But this that thing that I want to share with everybody, since I am one of the person who never had an idea. If somebody calls it lazy, I'm the one that I never imagined I would be running. Like running is something that I always scared. But that's the thing. Like when cold dipping happened, it tricked me into doing those things that I wasn't thinking about doing things. So when I started running, I remember that was with you, to be honest. That was first day.
Yeah, that was my first time too.
And when I was running, and then you'd give me those tips about, okay, don't push yourself. And I realized one thing to take away. So if we think we can run this much, we have to run half of this energy.
Yes, exactly.
And be consistent. Be doing this, having a schedule really helps. But which is why I'm really glad that you guys drag me out some days. But the other days, I am pushing myself, getting myself out there, even if it's a walk.
Yeah.
Those steps matter. So in terms of our physical health, this is really rewarding, and the rewards will come in, and having that faith about having this reward coming in is another big deal to have. So those three things, we talked about having this half of the energy, and then going slower pacing, and then having a schedule, be consistent, and then third part where we can have that faith to move in, that it's going to come in. We just have to be sticking with it. And having a group like you guys really helped me to get to that faith zone.
Exactly.
So now I have a